There are a few organisations that represent more of my views in a public-facing way than the Southern Poverty Law Centre. I've been following the Southern Poverty Law Centre since the early 90s, and I'm really amazed at the work that they do. As a non-government organisation, their ability to analyse threats and groups of even a small number of people, like, 3, 4 people, up to large organisations of thousands of people. It's just amazing work that they do. And in reflecting upon this, I think of the film Welcome to Leith. Welcome to Leith is a documentary about a small group of, I don't know what one would call them, racial purist extremists. They're not really neo-Nazis in the traditional sense of neo-Nazis. They have a strange religious view and all these other kinds of things. So, the standard white supremacist folk. And they came to a relatively short-thought idea associated with taking over a town here, Leith, which is in North Dakota. And the principle was that they would get half a dozen folk to move into Leith and then take over the town accordingly. What comes through this documentary indicates really that there is no proper organisation behind at least this white supremacist group. And the notion that people will move to North Dakota hasn't really been very well thought out by them. So the leader moves to North Dakota and he's able to get a husband and wife and their children to move up to Leith as well. But that's it. Couldn't encourage any more folk. What he does do is buys up parcels of land and gifts them to various white supremacists. But the whole film is really a tale of stupidity and the lack of insight associated with these particular white supremacists. And there is a cameo of the Southern Poverty Law Centre, and it makes me think that this is an organisation that I probably should add to my trickle funding associated with a piece of my paycheck going to them every paycheck. Because I really enjoy the work that they do, and whenever I find them in documentaries, they always appear to be doing really important work. And in the context of Welcome to Leith, I don't know, it's a strange film because it has no meaningful conclusion aside from the fact that you get a small insight into certain aspects of the white supremacists' views. But really what you see is the way a small town works against new folk that come into the town. This is my experience at San Jose, which is very curious. I'm not a white supremacist. I'm not a supremacist. I'm, in fact, the antithesis of that in some regard. But the existing hierarchies, the existing ways of doing things, very difficult to make any form of meaningful change. And I think probably if the white supremacists had done a little bit of thinking about the situation, they might realize that perhaps the way to come in was not necessarily to march up and down the streets with guns. That's really the beginning of the end. I don't want to put out a spoiler associated with Welcome to Leith, but it doesn't work out too well for them.